We are live.
Are we? We are live. Let's see here. Let me refresh. Let me get live here. How are you, Sarah?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing good. We are gonna give ourselves about 30 seconds here to let people jump on, and let me figure out how to work all this fabulous technology.
Look, it's for me too.
Are you there?
I'm
Yep,
here.
we're there. Before I get started, I do want to say thank you to our staff at Aura for setting this up.
Thank you.
Let's mute that. I've got this.
You got this. Oh, there you are.
There you are. Do you see me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so, just again, want to give a couple of seconds for everybody to jump on. Before we do, I really just want to say thank you to the Orlando Regional Realtor staff for helping us put this on, and thank them from doing so well from working from home. And thank you to Megan for putting this together. I've got Sarah Lipnitz with me, and we're just a few more seconds and we'll get going here. But Sarah, how's that weather right now up in Michigan?
Oh, it's fantastic. We had snow last week, a couple of days, like light snow. And then today it's like one of those days we dream of. You would probably be wearing coats down there, but we're in the low 60s and it's sunny. And my son and husband are on a bike ride wearing shorts.
Oh, fun. Yeah, I'm the type of person that anything below 70, I'm lighting a fire. So yeah, I'm not cold weather at all.
We'll find ourselves in the driveway later tonight talking with all of the neighbors, just socially distant, of course.
Oh.
Just to be out there and enjoy the weather. It's like, you got to break it in after being hauled up all winter long.
Oh, I bet. All right, well, it's 3 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. I'm Natalie Aerosmith. I am your 2020 president-elect of the Orlando Regional Realtor Association. I just want to say thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join us. I know we all have a million Zooms, webinars, online calls, so I really appreciate you being here. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping things that I have to tell you about. There will be a 20-second lag time in this Facebook Live. So if you ask a question, I may not see it right away, but we will try to answer questions as we go. But we are going to try to leave some time at the end so that Sarah and I can answer all of your questions. So I've asked you to join me today to talk about why thousands of realtors go to Washington, D.C. every May for the Realtors legislative meetings. Since this will be the first time that we don't go, NAR has decided to host the event virtually. At first I was like, how in the world are they going to do all of this? But then I started looking over the schedule, bookmarking my committees, and I reflected on the fact that this will be my first time in almost 10 years that I'm not going to be in DC in May. And then it hit me. This is a whole new world of opportunities for people who have never had a chance to go to the meetings to see how it works, and bigger opportunities for those who have been before. You see, when we go, it's normally a 4-day process, but since they've taken it virtually, it's now spread out over 3 weeks. Usually we can't go to all the committee meetings that we want to because we may have a Hill visit or be in another committee. But with this new format, a person can attend so much more. For those who have never been, this opens up the windows to what happens when we meet. So I called Aura and I said, can I speak about this with our members? And they agreed. And then I asked, can I have my dear friend, Sarah Lipnitz, join us to talk about why you should participate? Sarah is the 2020 National Association of Realtors Realtor Party Involvement Liaison. Say that 5 times fast. I met Sarah in DC many years ago. And when I introduced myself to her as being from Apopka, she said, oh, I know Apopka. I'm going to be an Orlando realtor one day. Sarah currently lives in Michigan and was the 2018 president of the Michigan Association, but she resides in Orlando 2 months out of the year. And I'm convinced she has Mickey Mouse on speed dial in her phone. So she was perfect choice to bring her in and talk to you guys today. So thank you for being with us, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm the closest thing to a snowbird in the winter months as one can get. Married to a Delta airline pilot, so traversing is not as complicated for us, and we are fans of the House of the Mouse, so spend lots of time in Orlando.
Awesome. So let's talk about these meetings, and let's talk about why are the May meetings so important to you?
So, the May meeting, it's an interesting thing. Obviously, when you're a member of the National Association of Realtors, your natural inclination would be to go to the November meetings, right?
Right.
There's a ton of educational opportunities. There's great networking. There's great entertainment. It's usually in marquee cities like Orlando every 4 years, where there's a lot of things for our members from around the United States to come and enjoy. But during my experience and being involved with it, leadership within and volunteerism really within the industry, I've come to find, as I think most people who are involved in volunteer leadership, either on the local, state, or national level, is that May is when the magic really happens. It's kind of the business of our business. And so
Right.
we get together in May, and it's the governance meetings. It's the nuts and bolts, and it marries really beautifully because we're there to talk about the advocacy efforts that the industry that we are working towards as the National Association of Realtors, albeit flood insurance, GSE reform. There's a lot of different things that are important to us. Private property rights, obviously, being a paramount issue. But then you also have the governance meetings about how the business of our industry runs. And it's so fascinating to me. So over the years, as much as I enjoy the November meetings, I am over the moon for the May meetings, just because I think that that's a real wonderful place for us to kind of grab in and get a hold of what we do best as an industry.
Right. And you were saying in an earlier conversation that we had that this really is the first time NAR has ever done anything like this.
Correct. And so for argument's sake, I'm terrible, right? We talked about this earlier when I said I still call the Women's Council WCR, even though I'm not supposed to. And I know Heather Ozier and Brenda Lee are buying 1,000 deaths inside as I say WCR. But much akin to that, I still oftentimes call the May meetings mid-year meetings. And
I do too.
I know it's terrible.
It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. But this is the first time we've ever had meetings virtually like this, or haven't had a mid-year meeting. And so this is new, not just because of the pandemic, but it's new for the association in general. We've never skipped it.
Right. And we think that doing it this way, we actually are probably going to have a ton more participation, aren't we? Probably people who've never done this before.
Absolutely. So, last week we got on, part of being on the extended leadership team is we get together monthly and we talk about what's going on with committees and what goes on within our respective lanes, so to speak, this extended leadership team. And Bob Goldberg spoke to us about the opportunity that this presents. And I really started to marinate on this because I say this, but I always try to look for the bright side of a situation. And I think the blessing that's going to come out of this for the association really is going to be that this is going to provide a huge amount of people the opportunity to experience the mid-year meetings at some level that they may not have ever experienced before. You can drop in and you can learn a little bit, you can watch a little bit. And I dare anybody who is serious about this business or their book of business not to be inspired when you hear about what we do as an industry to protect private property rights and all of the things that matter to home ownership. So I think this is going to be a phenomenal opportunity to kind of cast a much larger net and allow people to get a taste of what it is we're doing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And that was one of the things that I started looking at the schedule and thought, oh my gosh, look at all of these things that I now get to visit. Because when I go, being 4 days, we're either at the Hill or we're in other committees. And when I started going, oh, I can attend this one. Oh, I can go to this one too. But the other part of it I thought was fascinating was, and you and I both have talked about this before, is the person who maybe was involved with one of the affiliates and hadn't stepped over into the NAR meetings. And this is a great way for them to be able to segue into it.
100%. Yeah, we did. We told this a similar story, I think, when we talked about it. My introduction, much like yours, to the main meetings was through the Women's Council. And, I am a member and a big fan from the standpoint of, I think it's a wonderful trust tree, a very warm and cultivating place for you to kind of get exposed to the industry on a much broader scope. And I can remember the first few years we were way down at the Hilton, and I think I stayed at the Mayflower, so way down closer to the White House at that point. And we were heading to the meetings, and you just never went up the hill to the Wardman. And I can remember very vividly the first time I walked into the Wardman and then walked into the Omni for those meetings and sat in on a couple of them. And the first time you experienced the NAR 360, and how profound it is and how exciting that is. And then couple that with the board of directors meeting is insane. It's
thousands of realtors.
Yes. And so I think that, I think even for me, and I'm very friendly, very outgoing, and not shy or timid by any means, and had a little, right? A little bit of experience with going on, I had served on the association side in addition to being a member of the council, and just kind of getting there and kind of getting there and having that be a springboard. So again, I think that this is going to be a phenomenal opportunity for people to really see that their voice matters, their voice is heard, and that they can make a big difference.
So speaking of the committee work, there are 3 different types of meetings. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but there will be private meetings, which is the committees. And then there will be streamed meetings, which is governance meetings. But if you're registered, you can join, which, is great. And then there's the broadcast, which is going to be NAR 360, general session, and then the board of directors, which means anybody can basically preview them. Am I correct on all of that?
Absolutely. And if I were a first time attendee and somebody who has never had any exposure whatsoever, even to like the local association, which although I'm assuming that if somebody's catching this on Facebook Live, they're at least subscribed to their local association.
Yeah.
I would say that if you're going to earmark 3 things that you have to do just to get a real flavor is number 1, NAR 360. And then we talked about, again, the board of directors meeting, watching that, and then the general session. I think that those are 3 great places to dive in and get a real taste of what's going on.
So for those who have never been, NAR 360 is...
NAR 3. Oh, it's an overview on, and the thing that's always amazing to me on that, well, tell your story, because I think you tell a great story about the first time you ever walked into the NAR.
Oh my goodness gracious, my NAR 360. So Women's Council. Again, like I said, this will be my almost 10th year, but I spent my first 2 years at Women's Council at that affiliate before I ever had enough courage to walk over to NAR. And I went by myself to check it out. And I walked into NAR 360 and hundreds of realtors. The room, I don't even know how many people attend that session, but it was packed. And the energy was alive and people were hugging and they knew each other. And it just was like, okay, what have I not been getting to here? Sat through it. Yeah. And while I think this NAR 360 is going to be a little bit more on the downplay of energy than it normally is, because it's kind of the opening, get you going, tell you what's going on, a 360-degree view of what's happening with NAR. This time, they're actually going to talk a lot about the COVID and what's happening with the pandemic. And so it's going to be a really interesting, I think, NAR 360 to listen to this time. So I'm excited.
I agree. And I think that this is really our finest hour. Our association and the National Association of Realtors has stepped up big time to deliver for us and really make sure that our voices are heard in DC, and that the people in the legislature and in our government understand what a vital role we play in the economy. And so
Yes.
I guess the part that makes me a little sad is that now more than ever, I love to give a big hug and a big high five to those staffers at the NAR that have done such a phenomenal job for us, making sure that our voices are heard. And I think it's going to be, I think that this year it's going to be amazing to hear what they have to say and how nimble we have been. Let's not forget the fact that, we just made this decision to go live, or to move to the format, and
just
as with everything,
a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, and I hate the word pivot, right? We were talking about the words we hate, like the new norm and pivot and unprecedented, those terms that I don't think any of us ever want to hear again after this. But they did do a phenomenal job pivoting and giving us this tool. And I said, I think there's such a blessing that comes out of it. So the 360 is really going to set the tone for what we've got going on, put a pulse on it, on what's going on. They usually roll out some marketing initiatives and how we're going to continue to market our brand nationally. And they do a really great job with that.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I give massive kudos to NAR for everything that they've done. In fact, I was a little questionable about how they were going to pull off the board of directors because we have a big election coming up. There's several people in the race, and how are they going to do the voting, and how are they going to get it to actually work? And they're doing a pre-testing to make sure all of us know exactly what we're doing and that it's working. And so the way that they've put it all together, and I really do like the format of having it spread out. Kudos to the NAR staff for doing that for us. Let me just ask you this real quick, because I want to keep everybody's time short. What would you tell my committee chairs and vice chairs about these meetings and their members?
Well, so a couple committee, I think you got to pay attention to who chimes in because those are the people that we're not tapping on the shoulders. If somebody is interested in making the time to do these things, these are the people that have the opportunity to serve. And I would strongly encourage the members who watch these meetings and attend them, that if they think that there's an opportunity or they have something to add to the mix, that they should throw their hat in the ring and reach out to people in leadership or like yourself, who can help them navigate and figure out how to apply for committees within the NAR, within the state, and within your local, because you guys do it right and do it well.
Yeah, I would also say to our committee chairs and vice chairs and members, it's also another great opportunity for you to look at it from another level of what actually happens. So, the chair of communications, sit in on the member communications, consumer communications, committee, and see what's happening at that level. So I just think that it's a really good opportunity to tag people. Hill visits. What are we going to do now? I know that we went last year and, we met with Senator Rubio's team. We sat down with Representative Demings. We went and did several Hill visits while we're in DC. Now that we've gone live, what is NAR doing with that?
So interesting. The thing that's amazing is that the tools and the arsenal that we have in our toolkit when we need it to get our message across is there's a lot of breadth and depth there. There's a lot of opportunities for NAR to continue to stay in front of the legislature, especially in issues that are important to us. So in fact, in another 43 minutes, the federal political coordinators will kick off their meeting today with the FPC roundtables. There'll be 600 people that'll get on a Zoom. And I have the pleasure of the FPCs and the RPMICs fall under my purview this year with my leadership position. And we will start the roundtables and we'll start talking about those talking points as far as what's on the docket for our agenda this year with the legislature. Obviously a lot of it's going to be it's going to be touch and go with some of it, depending on how things unfold and when we get back and re-engage as an industry in the economy. But those talking points will come out. And for those of you who are curious how we get those talking points, all of us who volunteer are sent a survey earlier in the year where we can write down what matters most to us in our market, and they disseminate the information, and they'll get their virtual pack today, and we'll start talking about those talking points. Meetings can still happen in district. We still have a phenomenal call to action resource that if you're not utilizing your calls to action, you should be, because they're a fantastic opportunity for us. And those relationships those FPCs have with the members of the House and the members of the Senate are still strong, and those meetings will continue to happen, albeit if we need to get back to DC for a special issue because it's prudent and we can do that safely, or if those meetings have to again happen safely in district. So I think that's going to be business as usual moving forward.
Yeah, well, I want you to notice I'm wearing Realtor purple just because of this. Not a lot of people know, but we are not a blue and we are not a red. We are a Realtor purple when we go and we speak, correct?
Absolutely, and I love that. So your Realtor purple goes with my
Disney
favorite
cup.
Disney mug. I'm talking to Orlando. So how about that?
You'll be here soon.
Yeah.
So just to kind of tie things back together again, real quick, I just want to point some things out. What you can expect, and like Sarah just mentioned, the FPC roundtable is right after this at 4 o'clock. Everything you look online is going to be Central Daylight Time. I say it's FPC roundtable at 4 o'clock. That is Eastern Standard Time, but when you're online looking at the dates and times, it's Central Daylight Time. So make sure you keep that in the back of your brain when you're looking at it. And so this week, really just going to look at some virtual meetings. Next week, committee and business meetings. Then the week of May 4th, it's going to open up to committee meetings, business meetings, and then various forums. And then the following week is going to be the NAR 360, the general session, and the board of directors. And I'll tell you, Sarah, you and I talked about it, board of directors with the flags and the regions and everything else. It's all, it's just, you walk in and it's just, I don't even have words for it. It's amazing.
You have pride. You have pride in your industry. And, if we had more time, I'd tell the story about my dad telling me that, being a realtor was not my best career path. And 20 years later, he said, boy, you sure did pick the right thing. And, just the pride that I feel when I walk into that room and see what we are capable of doing as an industry, it's palpable.
Yep. No, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. It is my life too. And NAR and going to the meetings has changed my life, my business, my personal life, the education that we've gotten, just knowing that I make a difference in the community. It has just enriched every bit of my life being involved with the association. You can go to 2020.legislative.realtor to see the schedule. And where you can sign up. You have to be registered to be able to go to those select committees, the general or committee meetings that they have. So make sure you do that. And any last tips on maybe doing this whole thing online, or do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, I think a couple of things. Number one, and we joked about this earlier, like if we're both homeschooling, right? You and I are we both have kids in the similar age, as a matter of fact. I think we have to set the tone with their kids on what's going to be expected. Wear pants. Wear pants.
Yes, we've all seen how that can go down really bad.
And I think, block it off in your schedule. I treat my schedule for the next 3 weeks the same way I would as if I'm not there. And so if somebody's like, can you hop on a call? I don't take the call during these meetings, because I'm here to be engaged and present in what's in front of me so that I can really dial in and learn and make the best use of that time.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. I added on to that list, coming up with ways to tell my children if they don't do it, if you leave me alone or else. I'm coming up with different ways that.
Yeah, I've seen something about like a sign that says like red, like give me red if it's this, give me this if it's that. Yeah, I'm really regretting. I think there's a lot of people that might rethink open concept floor plans after the pandemic. I'm regretting not putting a door on my office.
Well, I'm regretting getting rid of my office for guests who come in from Michigan to stay in my house. So
I'll take that as an invitation.
Yes, always. So All right. Well, gosh, I can't thank you enough for doing this with me. You are adorable. We would love to have you as a part of the Orlando Regional Realtor Association. I've already got you signed up for a couple of committees. Once we get you signed up here, get that broker's license like you said you were going to. And I guess let's see if we have any questions. Is there anybody? I haven't seen any come through. Just a lot of thank yous. Our president, Reese Stewart, is watching. So thank you for watching with us. Rosie's here. Rosie and Christian are on. They are both, oh my goodness, my brain has left me, but liaisons to countries, ambassadors, Belgian, what's the word I'm looking for, Sarah? The person from
NAR?
Yeah.
With NAR. So okay. So you've got some, you
We've
guys
got some
have
big ones,
big international, you've
Yes.
got some power players, and you've got a big international community there.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do. So they're on, they're saying hi. Let's see here. Cliff is on, our AE. Love Cliff. Thank you so much. Cliff, I understand you had a fabulous meeting this morning. Sarah watched it again because she wants to be an Orlando Realtor. Now she wants to be an Orlando Realtor even more. So Global Ambassador, thank you, Jason Marquis. That's exactly the word I was looking for. Global Ambassador. We have a couple Global Ambassadors
Jason
on right now.
Marquis is watching as well.
Yes, Jason's here. No, we don't really have any questions. I'm getting all the answers now to Global Ambassador, but I just, again, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I can't encourage people enough to go on and do this. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here and your knowledge and just for being you. So
thank you very much for having me. I do love your home. And so, although for right now, Birmingham, Michigan is my home, and I'm very happy selling here. I do suspect someday I will be an Orlando Realtor, but maybe in
down the road.
Act 2 of my career. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. You have a great day. Stay warm.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Take
See
care.
you real
Thank
soon.
you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you all for everybody joining. Have a great day. Bye.